Good morning, Washington. Welcome to We Speak. Today's show, we have two special guests that are going to be very familiar to everybody. We have Senator Keith Wagoner of the 39th Legislative District and Gubernatorial hopeful Tim Eyman on the show today. Now, Tim Eyman is a household name because of his many years of service to the people of the state of Washington through his initiative programs, who have saved hundreds of millions of dollars to people already, and because of all the publicity, one way or another, he's gotten from far left trying to hammer him down and get him out of the game, you might say. But he's here today to talk, and Keith's here today to talk because Keith has a very special announcement. So we're going to go right to the show. And gentlemen, welcome to the show today.
You know, it's great to be back, Ray. I had such a wonderful time on our last interview, and I couldn't think of a better place to make a very important announcement that I have to make today. So thanks for having me back on the We Speak show.
Well, I am just really excited to be here. I really like We Speak. I really like Ray really challenging the monopoly of Facebook and all these social media places where there really isn't free speech, where We Speak is actually a place where they actually respect the First Amendment. I think it's a welcome change.
Well, there's a lot of things going on. It seems like every day something else comes out in the news. But there's a lot of people running, a lot of things going on in the gubernatorial race. So, Keith, I understand, Senator, that you have something to say about this. What do you have to say about this today?
So, as I said, I had such a great time at our last interview that I thought this was the appropriate venue for me to make an important announcement. It'll be the first time on video that I've officially announced my endorsement of the Tim Eyman campaign for governor. And it's very important to me to get that word out there because we have so much going on in the state and it's so important. And I've been asked, Ray, by many people in this field of really good candidates, you know, why am I so eager to support Tim for governor? And that's a fair question. You know, there are a lot of fine, competent, well-meaning candidates, and I look for all of those qualities in a candidate, but I also look for one more. And the reason is, we have the voters in Washington state to make some positive change in Olympia. We've always had the voters, but we don't get the votes. And in the easiest state in the union to vote, heck, we even pay for postage now. So in the easiest state in the union to vote, we haven't been able to get the vote out. Why? And it's because we need one more quality. And that quality is inspirational. Because you don't get the vote out with adjectives like fine, better than what we've got. You get the vote out when people feel like you get them and you understand what their needs are. So when Tim announced his candidacy, I knew we had an inspiring candidate. Tim's name is a household word, and he's been fighting for the people of Washington state for over 2 decades, 22 years, I think, fighting to reduce the tax burden, and fighting to make sure that the taxes that they do pay are well spent. And time after time, Washington state citizens have gotten behind Tim and his initiatives. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing as an elected official to say nobody's done more for the people of Washington in terms of protecting their hard-earned dollars than Tim Eyman, who's not even an elected official. But you also get, besides inspiration, you get Tim's resiliency. And Tim is a tough guy. And make no mistake, running a statewide campaign, especially for the office of the governor, requires toughness. And running the office requires toughness, or the office will absorb you. And we've seen that happen. Tim's been knocked down, he's been vilified, he's been sued, and I think he's being personally targeted by some members of the administration in Olympia. But nothing has ever stopped him from doing good work for the people of Washington state. Think about it. Can you think of another candidate who has squared off with the Attorney General on multiple occasions personally? I can't. That's real physical and mental courage on display. So that's a winning combination. That's inspirational. That's going to get the votes out that already exist out there in Washington. Because we have our own little swamp in Olympia. And Governor Tim Eyman is the person to clean that up. So that's why I endorsed Tim for governor, and I urge the We Speak audience and the people across the state to do the same. It's got nothing to do with party politics, really. Republicans, Democrats, independents, people who've never voted, first-time voters. Everybody knows that we need change in Washington, and Tim Eyman's going to be that change. So with that, I guess I turn it over to Tim to talk a little bit about himself and about some of the changes that he would like to see made in Olympia when he goes to live in the governor's mansion.
Well, first of all, I just really want to thank Keith for doing this. I know as an elected official, endorsing Tim Eyman isn't always the easiest thing to do because I've rankled a lot of elected officials over the years. Frankly, Republicans, Democrats, certainly I got in the face of Jay Inslee over the years, but those 22 years, that was serious training for this race. I didn't realize it at the time, but I've been training for this for 22 years, fighting from the outside, trying to convince voters that this is a good idea. Limiting taxes, limiting red light ticketing cameras, making it tougher to raise taxes, putting limits on affirmative action, fundamentally saying, you are all conservative. You may not even know it, though. These kind of ideas resonated with people because I talk like a normal person. I was born and raised in Yakima. I went to Wazoo, got my business degree. I think you're just more normal when you're actually a normal human being. Keith, the thing I just really admire about him, he's a soft-spoken man, but he's tough as nails, and he hasn't been changed by Olympia. I've seen too many Republicans get down there and see Olympia change them, and he's been setting his course toward conservatism since day one, but he doesn't do it in an obnoxious way. He does it through civil discussion with Democrats. I'm going to come in and be a little bit more of a bull in a china shop because I fundamentally believe the voters want a fighter. They want somebody that's frankly like our president that is willing to get out there. It's not always pretty when the president's out there, banging away on Hillary Clinton and say he ought to be in jail. It doesn't always look pretty, but he won the election. And too many of our candidates over the years that have run statewide have just run nice guy campaigns. And I'm sorry, this cycle, that's just not going to cut it. And the big thing that I'm just really, really proud of, and Ray, you pointed it out, I'm just really proud of it. Every candidate can give a speech and make promises on what they're going to do if they're elected. As I'm running, we're accomplishing more as a candidate than I think Jay Inslee's done in 8 years. Our lawsuit to open up the schools is opening the schools in the fall. We have actually made sure that fishing and hunting comes back, all because of these rallies we've done. The efforts we've made on these lawsuits on essential versus non-essential, the mask, all these things going down to Chaz or Chop, or as Keith said, who knows what it's called. Those are efforts to prove to you that I'm the fighter that you want to take on Jay Inslee.